Hey y'all, this is Corey with Everyday Man, doing everyday reviews for everyday people. And today we're going to talk about getting around a problem, a serious problem, with a 2008 to 2015 Harley Davidson. And we'll get with it right after this. Okay, so riding season is just around the corner, although the temperature outside would indicate otherwise. It is getting pretty late in February. It's the 19th right now, and we just had a lot of cold weather. The whole country did. But it's going to be warming up soon here in South Louisiana, and it's time to put this thing on the road. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, today I'm going to be attempting to bypass a safety feature on this motorcycle. If you're not interested in bypassing a safety feature, namely the ABS, please continue somewhere else. Today, we're trying to figure out how to bypass the ABS on this Harley Davidson. Now, it started last year on me. My front brakes started pulsing pretty bad. And in fact, it got so bad, I changed the rotors on it. I changed the brake pads. I changed all kind of stuff on it. And I started doing research. I mean, the front brakes are totally inoperable right now. I cannot even pull the brake handle. And when I started researching on it, what I found was the ABS module on these bikes, 2008 to 15 in particular, will lock up and cause that. Now, luckily, my ABS module locked up in the open position, so my front wheel still rolls. Now, what happens is a lot of people get in trouble because when they apply the brakes, the ABS module will lock up, causing your front wheel to lock up. And that's something that I don't want to have happen to me. I've been riding motorcycles a long time, and I feel that ABS is something I really don't need. This was the first year. This is a 2008 105th anniversary. This is the first year it was offered on this motorcycle. And I got to tell you, I'll be happy to get rid of it and get these brakes working again. Now, I'm fairly certain the module is right here behind this cover, but I'm going to go ahead and move around a little bit. We'll take this bag off, we'll take the cover off, and we'll see what we got. Okay, y'all, so what we're going to do is remove this saddlebag, remove the cover, and make sure that I'm looking in the right place. I've never actually looked for it before. So if you've never taken your bag off, it's really easy. These two thumb screws right here, and it will come right off after you get them open all the way. Boy, this thing is filthy. Pretty obvious it's been sitting in the garage for a few months. Time to give old girl a good cleaning. Okay, and sure enough, this is our ABS module. Now, from the research I've done, this side should be the front brakes, and this should be the back. And what we're going to attempt to do is remove this. We're going to unplug it, remove the module itself, and we're actually going to see if we can physically get the valves open inside of the module. And if not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to go down to the hardware store or to an auto parts store and try and find some fittings with some 90s or some unions or something to connect each one of these lines individually, front and back. So that's what we're going to do. So let me get some tools out and we'll start the video back up. Give me a few minutes. We're going to pull this ABS module out. All right, y'all, let's see if we can go ahead and get this module out of here. First thing we're going to want to do is unplug it. And I don't think it'll ever be plugged in again. It's kind of what we're hoping. All right, we got some Allen screws. And looks like we've got another one on the side there. And that looks to be the only hardware holding it in, except for the banjo bolts that actually allow the fluid to pass. So I don't know how much of a mess this is going to cause, but I suppose we'll see shortly. Well, it's going to cause a mess. So I'm sure we're going to get brake fluid all over everything, which I would imagine is to be expected when dealing with brake lines. Now these are indeed banjo bolts with a banjo bolt fitting. So I don't know how hard it would be to find connections to try and bypass this thing. So you got to remember, when you take it off, you got washers on the top and on the bottom of each fitting. And that's what's going to stop your, or seal up your fluid from leaking. So you want to make sure you get all of your washers. All right. Now let's see if we can get this fella out of here. Or what's it going to take? Looks like we might have to take the whole tray out. I was hoping it was just going to rock out. Rock out. But it does not appear that that is the case. So I'm not exactly sure what holds this on. I definitely see a couple of Allen head screws. So let me go ahead and get a Allen wrench and see if we can get those out. And that's it. Now there is a plug attached on here. It looks like it just clips on. There you go. All right. So there's our ABS module. Let's see if we can get it over the table and figure out what's going on with it. Okay, guys, so it is tomorrow. I did bring the ABS block to the table, and I was not able to find a way to make it work. So I had to go searching for fittings that would fit the banjo bolts that are on the ABS lines, because we're totally going to do away with the ABS block. And what I found some couplings from O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and I'm going to put a picture of the box with the part number right up here, because they're really hard to find. And after you do get those fittings, it's a M10 by 1 by 3/8. Then you can go ahead and go to your hardware store and find some other fittings. So basically what I've done is made a U shape, and I'm gonna hook the banjo bolts up in. We're gonna create a solid line for the front brakes and the back brakes. We're gonna bleed them, and we're gonna see if they work. We're gonna see if these will hold, if they hold the pressure, if they hold the fluid, and if so, I think successfully we'll have bypassed the ABS block. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and install the fittings I made, and we're gonna see what happens. Now remember to put a crush washer on the top and the bottom of your banjo. Okay, so these are gonna work as long as they'll hold fluid. We'll have something. So the back ones are for your front brakes, and the front ones are for your back brakes. So we're making two separate lines, front and back. So we've got our front brakes done. And now we've got our back brakes. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on where it was. And our little brake switch, I think that's the brake switch, we'll clip back in there. We'll get this back together and we'll bleed the brake lines. And so I'm gonna show you a little bit of how we do that, and we'll see if we got brakes again. So we got our tubing hooked up to our brake caliper, and we're gonna bleed these brakes off. What I'm gonna do is depress the brakes. Well, I'm gonna open the screw, the bleed screw, press the brakes, close the bleed screw. It's a lot of B's and B's and B's, excuse me. But what we're looking for is to get a solid line of oil or brake fluid in this line. We don't want any bubbles in it. So let's go ahead and give it a try. I'm gonna crack it open, give it a pump. We're gonna hold the brake pedal down and close it off. And we're gonna do that until we can get some good stuff flowing. Okay, we got a little oil come out that time. A little more. A little more. So after a few minutes, I say a few minutes, after a half hour or so of trying to bleed these brakes, it is really a pain. I've bled a lot of brakes on vehicles before, but I will say it's the first time I've done it on a motorcycle. And with the reservoirs being so tiny and holding just a little bit of oil, and the amount of an air bubble I made in the line, it took a lot of pumping, pumping, refilling. But I do have both of them working. I have excellent feel in my front and rear brakes. They both feel really good. I think it's gonna work. So I'm gonna get you down here real quick and I'm gonna show you the finished product. It's not the prettiest thing, but it does appear to be working. These two fittings that I was telling you about from AutoZone, from O'Reilly, excuse me, and there's just some 90 degree fittings, some street fittings. And there is no more ABS block in there. And it appears that the brakes are actually working. So I told you earlier in the video, and I want to say it again, this is a definite bypass to a safety system on your motorcycle. If you are not comfortable doing this, feel free to move on. The brake module on the bike is $1,200. This is a 2008 Harley Davidson. And for me, spending $1,200 for one part for this bike just seemed a little bit outrageous. So I'm hoping this is something that I can use. And if I feel the brakes, if I feel any leaks start or the brake feeling goes bad, then trust me, I'm gonna stop and get it fixed. But I think bypassing the ABS system with these fittings will work out for me. And if not, I will have to go buy brand new brake lines, but I will not be putting back in the ABS system. Harley's never really figured it out real well, and from what I know, they haven't recalled it yet. So I think it's a bad situation all the way around, and hopefully hopefully this works out for me. And if you guys give it a try, let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know how it worked for you. And guys, until next time, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And until next time, y'all, I'll see you.